Okay, so today we're going to talk about some power supplies, cables, and risers that I use in my farm. I see a lot of people out there have questions about this. I've been asked about it a few times, so I'll just tell you guys what I've used. I've never had a problem with any of the stuff that I have used. So this video is not sponsored or anything like that, but you know, this is just my recommendation if you're just getting into this or want to know what cables are good, and in my opinion, you know, that's kind of what this is. So to start off, I use HP server power supplies for, you know, like open air rigs or for extra power for things. I use these guys. This is a 1200 watt one. I use 750 watt ones, just kind of whatever. That's kind of what I use for power supply wise. ATX power supplies, like in this computer, this is my test rig. Right now it's running a rig of 1660 supers, but these are GT EVGA GT 1300s. So I run those, and then I run Corsair power supplies for the ATX power supplies. I have a lot of Corsair like 650s, and I got like one 750. Shoot, I ran their old 500 watt power supply for like 10 years now, and I still had it running a card the other day. So those are the only two brands I really use for ATX power supplies, but other than ATX power supplies, I use these guys. I've never had an issue with these guys. I got this one from Amazon. I got a bunch more coming from eBay. I've never bought from Parallel Miner or anything like that. Not saying not to or anything like that. I just haven't, so I don't know what that's like. But I usually get all my stuff from Amazon and eBay. That's most of the two places I get everything. So like, I even got this server right here. I got this from Amazon. So you know, and I've had this for a long time, and that's where I got my two 750 watt power supplies that, shoot, this thing hasn't been down for 2 or 3 years. One of those power supplies has been running for 2 or 3 years non-stop. So now I only have one power supply in here because I use the other one in the mine, but you know, that's besides the point. So okay, so HP power supplies, you can get them for cheap. I'll have actually, I'm not going to have a link because I don't really have a store I get them from. So you can get them from eBay, Amazon, Parallel Miner. There's a bunch of places you can get these things, and they're not that expensive by themselves. But then if you get one of these, you need a breakout board. So I've mostly used these really old style breakout boards with a push button, and that has worked fine. But now I'm moving on to these because they have a switch, and the buttons are fine, but if you ever have to reboot like your rigs remotely, you can't, because you have to physically push this button. If this power supply ever loses power, you have to physically push this button. And that's the only thing I did not like, because I have a lot of remote PDUs that I use to reset all of my devices if they crash remotely. Let's say if I'm like not home or on vacation or something, I don't want my whole vacation or the whole time I'm gone the rig to be down. I'll just reboot it, and if it has a problem, I'll, you know, deal with it when I get home. So that's what I'm doing with these. That's another reason why I was using ATX power supplies, because you can jump them, and I was just using ATX power supplies like these to run motherboards and stuff. And I'll show you what that's like out in my farm. So for risers, I use these Breakout or whatever they're called. I'll have a link to these. These are the Amazon 6-pack risers. I've tried many different risers, and they've all given me problems except for these. And I have ran 3090 Ti's off of these at 450 watts mining Ravencoin with 0 issues. So these are the only ones I buy now, because I've tried 10 capacitor ones, all these different brands, and I've had nothing but issues. And these 6-pack Amazon ones are the only ones that haven't given me issues. Maybe it's just me, but yeah. And always use the 6-pin. Never try to power it from one of these. I don't even know why they put these on there, but always use a 6-pin. The next most important things is cables to plug in to your breakout boards. And I see this is where a lot of people start to fail, is these cables. Okay, these are S-Union cables. Okay, I think they're 16 gauge S-Union. I'll have a link to these. below. I broke the clip on this one, but yeah, these are the best. These are thick. I ran 400 watts off of one of these cables with zero issues. It wasn't even warm. Yeah, these are the only cables I will use. I've seen so many people burn their GPUs or burn stuff, or GPUs going offline to just shoddy cables. Same thing with these splitters. This is even more important than those cables, because this is another big place where a lot of these people fail. I see online is, you know, a lot of like new miners or even gamers, man. They'll put like some cheap splitter in there. This is S-Union 16 gauge, the same thickness as these, okay? And I ran 400 watts off of this with no problem. I don't recommend that, but I have, just to see if it was gonna work. I didn't do it for more than like 4 hours, but it worked. So, but I've steadily ran these at like 300 watts for, you know, months, and they are fine. You know, you just got to make sure you have the right stuff backing it. Otherwise, you will have problems. I have seen so many videos of people going, "Oh my gosh, this thing almost caught on fire. Ha ha ha, better order another one." Like, that's insane. These GPUs are not cheap, and in my opinion, that's just stupid. As you can see, I use these things everywhere. I mean, this is 1660 Super, so they're pulling like 85 watts, so that's really nothing. But yeah, S-Union splitters, the only splitter I will use. As you can see, that's kind of what those risers look like when they come in a package. Now, I do use one other power supply that I will show you right now, and this is a big boy. So let me pull it out and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is it. This guy is 3,300 watts. Yeah, that's right, 3,300 watts. And I'm talking from experience. I have 2 of these in my farm right now in my Mystic Miner boxes. These are the power supplies you get with a Mystic Miner, and they are powerful. Downside is it's really loud. It's got a really loud fan. But to me, I don't care about noise because I'm putting it in my garage, so I don't care. So this is the only power supply I've been able to find that has been like legit 3,000 plus watts and stable. I have had rigs running on this, shoot, I don't know, as far back as my Mystic Miner videos go, and they have been running maxed out almost, you know, the whole time. I'm talking like 2,500 watts right now, but I did want to see if it could hold 3,300 watts, and I did set up a box and run Raven Coin on it at 3,250 watts to 3,150. It was fluctuating, but you know, that did not crash, and I ran that for a week. It was solid. It was hot during the summer, where a lot of rigs, you know, usually drop offline because of heat. And I had my entire farm mining Raven Coin. It was hot, like 100, 101 in my garage. And these puppies, 3,250 watts, just chugging along with no issues. Not one of those cards crashed, had bad voltage, nothing. So that I really liked. So I am going to start using these in my open air rigs as well. So if I have an open air rig, you know, that I'm trying to suck up a bunch of PCI slots on these server cases because they're maxed out on power, you know, this is the, like I said, the only power supply I've been able to see that can run this much wattage. So this is kind of what it looks like. You know, they're bolted in terminals, and then it's got just a bunch of cables. So they've been fantastic, and I use that with 14 gauge, you know, C13 to C14 cables. I'll have a link, you know, in the description where I got these, but it doesn't matter what brand, doesn't matter which ones you use, just make sure you use the right gauge. 14 gauge, you know, because if you want to pull 3,000 watts, you better have the right cables going to your stuff. That's some serious wattage, you know, and that puts out some serious heat. This right here is pumping like 800 watts right now or so. It's like a little bit less, like 700 something, 790 with the rig and all the fans and everything. And it's making this room hot. So, and that's only, you know, a third, less than a third of what this thing puts out. So that's just something to keep in mind. These things only work on, you know, 200 plus volt. like right here. You guys can see that. That's the specs, 200 to 240 volt, and they can do 16 amps. So, and like I said, I've had mine doing 3250 watts just fine. And that's why I ordered, you know, more of them, because after I saw what the Mystic Miner box could do with, you know, this power supply and you know, a bunch of 3080s or 3090s in it, I was pretty stoked. So I'll have a link to where you can get this from Mystic Miner. He's in Indiana, so that's also cool. Doesn't really take all that long to get. So yeah, that's kind of a quick spill of what I use in my farm, and how I kind of use it. I'll just take a quick video of kind of my farm right now. As you guys can see, I got a lot of work to do. That rig's offline. All these cables are just jumbled. But here's an example, you know, of the power supply. That's a 750 watt running the, you know, some cards. But here's like the Corsair 650, and that runs, you know, this motherboard, right? So then I can use that power supply is jumped, so that's plugged into these PDUs that I can log into with a web GUI and reset that if it crashes. And that doesn't only, since it's 650 watts, it doesn't only run that. I have it also running these three cards. That's a 6800 AMD card and two 6600 XTs. So, plus it's running all the fans. So, I mean, that's what I was doing. And then as you can see, I use these EVGA like 1000s for also, but these are, you know, EVGA and Corsair for the ATX, and that's kind of what that looks like in my farm. So I really like these open air frames if you do them right. So that's just a kind of a quick video of my farm and what that looks like. I have another one here where I did the same thing. Runs that, and that's a full 1660 Super Rig as well. 12 of them. So you know, it works good. I haven't had any problems with these power supplies or anything like that. They've been running solid for a long time. So just kind of wanted to show you guys a quick video of that. All right, peace out.